1 million. It's a number that feels, I don't know, a little abstract until you really try to picture it. 1 million hours.
It's staggering.
If you sat in a chair for 1 million hours, you'd be there for over 114 years.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about sitting. We're talking about 1 million hours of 9G turns and supersonic speeds.
And immense stress on an airframe. It's a huge flashing neon sign that just says, this machine works.
And it does. As of January 29, 2026, the Eurofighter Typhoon fleet officially crossed that 1 million flying hour mark.
Which, frankly, considering how this whole project started, is a minor miracle.
That's exactly where we want to anchor today's deep dive. We've got a whole stack of reports here, from the milestone breakdown in simple flying to technical comparisons in cyborg and aerotime.
Right.
But we're not just here to, pop champagne for a European consortium.
No, the milestone is really just the entry point. It's the data point that lets us talk about the bigger picture.
Exactly. We're using this number to understand how air combat has fundamentally shifted. Because when this jet was designed, the Berlin Wall was still standing.
The Soviet Union was the adversary. The mission was simple.
Climb high, fly fast, and shoot down Tupolev bombers.
It was a pure interceptor. That was its DNA.
And you fast forward to today, to 2026, and this exact same airframe is doing things that would sounded like science fiction to its original designers. So let's get into the machine itself.
The milestone machine. And maybe the political machine, too.
Well, that's a huge part of it. When you say 1 million hours, I think it's easy to just gloss over the logistics.
Oh, for sure.
But you have to consider the Frankenstein nature of this jet. It wasn't one country with one vision.
No, and that's what makes the number so significant. If this were, say, a Dassault Rafale, that's all French. One government, one manufacturer.
Trouble.
Relatively. Or an F-15, that's all American. The Typhoon is a consortium. You have Airbus, BAE Systems, Leonardo, you've got the UK, Germany, Italy, Spain.
All making different parts of the plane in different factories with different languages.
Which is, historically, a recipe for absolute disaster, or at least a very, very expensive and late airplane.
It certainly had its issues.
It did. But what this 1 million hours proves is that they actually solved that logistical nightmare. They've kept around 610 jets active. That's an incredible retention rate for a high-performance fighter.
And the list of operators is getting more interesting. It's not just flying in rainy European weather anymore.
No, it's 9 different air forces. You're talking Austria, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar.
And maybe Turkey. The reports are saying negotiations are ongoing for up to 44 more jets.
Which, if that happens, really solidifies its role as a primary NATO asset on that southeastern flank.
So it's flying in the freezing Baltic and the scorching desert. But let's look at why it's still flying. I was digging into the cyborg report, and the raw performance numbers are just aggressive.
They really are.
Specifically, that thrust-to-weight ratio.
1.1.
Which is just wild. For anyone listening, a ratio of 1.0 means you can basically stand the plane on its tail at 1.15.
You're accelerating while going straight up. It means you have an immense amount of excess energy, and that's the Typhoon's party trick. It's not just fast, it's a Mach 2.0 jet. It's an energy fighter.
How does that stack up against, say, the F-16? That's the benchmark most people have in their heads.
The F-16 is a nimble knife fighter, absolutely, but it's a single-engine light fighter. When you load it up, that agility starts to degrade because you only have one engine doing all the work.
The Typhoon has 2.
2 Eurojet EJ200s. It's just brute force. Even fully loaded, it holds onto its energy in a turn better than almost anything in its class.
And on the other extreme is something like the F-15.
Right. The F-15 is the king of speed and altitude. It's a muscle car. But in a tight, twisting dogfight, the Typhoon sits in this perfect sweet spot. It has the power of the big jets, but the agility of the smaller ones.
Okay, so we've established it's a hot rod. But raw performance isn't why we're talking about a revolution here. The sources all keep hammering on this one term, swing roll.
Yes, this is the absolute crux of its evolution.
Now, I need you to be precise here, because I hear multirole and swing roll used interchangeably all the time. Is this just marketing, or is there a real difference in the cockpit?
There is a massive functional difference. Think of it like this. Multirole is a capability. Swing roll is about the timeline.
Okay, break that down for me.
So go back to World War II. You had the Mosquito. It was multi-role. It could be a bomber, a night fighter, whatever.
But you had to decide that on the ground.
Exactly. The mechanics hang bombs on it. You go do a bombing mission. If you get jumped by fighters, you run, because today you're a bomber.
Right.
Even the F-4 Phantom in Vietnam, the ultimate jack of all trades, was usually configured for one mission type. If a MiG jumped you, you often had to jettison your bombs, literally throw away your primary mission
Yeah, sure.
just to survive the fight.
So you couldn't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
How is swing roll different?
Swing roll means you don't choose. You do both, simultaneously.
In the middle of the flight.
In the middle of the engagement, imagine you're the pilot. You're carrying paveway bombs to hit a bunker. Suddenly, your sensors pick up an enemy fighter.
Okay.
In a Typhoon, you don't have to dump the bombs. The jet has enough power to fight with the load. You can fire an air-to-air missile, win that fight, and then just continue on to your original target and drop the bomb.
So you're a sniper and a boxer in the same round.
And your avionics are showing you the air picture and the ground picture at the same time. You don't have to switch modes. That's the difference.
That's huge for the pilot, obviously.
Mm.
But the reports also mention the economic angle.
Well, it's the two for the price of one argument. If you have a dedicated interceptor fleet and a bomber fleet, you have double the maintenance, pilots, overhead.
With a swing roll fleet, one jet does both jobs.
The commander just says, I need 4 jets, and those 4 jets can handle whatever comes up. It simplifies everything.
But the Typhoon didn't start out this way. It was a pure air-to-air design.
No, not at all. This capability was added over time.
Which is where this tranche system comes in. It's a bit confusing if you're used to the American block numbers.
It's pretty unique to this program.
So walk us through it. Tranche 1 was basically just a really expensive sports car, right?
That's a little harsh, but not entirely wrong. Tranche 1 was the Cold War hangover. Pure air defense. It was built to scramble, fly fast, and shoot down other planes. Very limited ground attack capability.
Just keeping the skies clear.
Exactly. But then you get to Tranche 2 and 3, and this wasn't just a software patch. They had to physically upgrade the internal structure to carry heavy weapons.
Had to beef it up?
Beef it up, redo the wiring, and this is critical, they had to upgrade the cooling.
The cooling, why?
Because all that data generates heat. When you start adding targeting pods and smart weapons, the computers are just crunching massive amounts of data. They get hot.
And those weapons? We're talking about things like Storm Shadow.
A very heavy, very capable deep strike cruise missile.
And Brimstone for close air support.
Which is what turned the jet into a real mud mover. And honestly, this is what drove the flight hours up toward that 1 million mark.
Why does carrying a bomb make you fly more often?
It's the mission profile. An interceptor sits and waits for an alarm. It's reactive. A ground attack plane is proactive. It's constantly training, flying sorties, working with troops on the ground.
The missions are longer.
And more frequent. Once the Typhoon could do everything, commanders started using it for everything. It became the fleet workhorse.
Which brings us to Tranche 4, the new models.
This is the big digital shift. Tranche 4 is all about the new ECRS Mk2 radar. It's an AESA radar.
Which means it's not just for seeing things.
Right. It's an electronic warfare weapon. It can actively jam enemy radars while it's tracking targets. It basically turns the Typhoon into a high-speed flying data node.
Okay, so that brings us to the elephant in the room. Or maybe the invisible elephant in the room.
Stealth.
Exactly. We're in 2026. The world is obsessed with the F-35, the F-22. The Typhoon is big, it's got canards, it carries weapons on the outside. On a modern radar, it's not stealthy.
Not even close. It relies on electronic warfare, not its shape, to survive.
So why are countries still buying it? If you're an Air Force general, why buy a 4th-gen jet in a 5th-gen world?
It comes down to physics and tactics. Stealth is incredible, but it's not a magic invisibility cloak, and it comes with penalties. The F-35 is a master of sensors, the quarterback.
But to stay stealthy, it has to carry everything inside.
And it doesn't have a lot of room in there, limited payload, plus it's not nearly as fast or agile as a Typhoon. It can't super cruise fly supersonic without its afterburners.
So the strategy isn't one or the other.
No, the doctrine now is day 1 versus day 3. On day 1 of a conflict, the F-35s kick down the door, they sneak in, take out the enemy's air defenses.
And once that door is open?
You send in the trucks. The Typhoons, the F-15EXs, they come in right behind, loaded to the gills with missiles and bombs, and they just dismantle the enemy. You need something to haul the explosives.
I like that missile truck concept. It's not about being the sneakiest, it's about having the most ammo when it counts.
It is. The sources compare the Typhoon to the F-15EX a lot. The F-15 is a monster. It can carry almost 30,000 pounds of ordnance. The Typhoon carries a bit less, but it's much more survivable in a dogfight if things go wrong.
And things do go wrong. The threats are real. The Russian Su-57, the Chinese J-20.
Right, and Western Air Forces know they need mass. They need numbers. You can't just have a handful of ultra-expensive stealth jets. You need a big fleet of reliable, high-performance workhorses to back them up.
Reliable seems to be the key word there.
It makes a huge difference. Stealth coatings are fragile. They need hours of maintenance for every hour of flight. A Typhoon is rugged. It's built to fly, rearm, and go right back up. Turnaround time matters.
Let's loop back to that 1 million hours, because I think a lot of people hear that and assume it's all combat.
If European pilots had seen 1 million hours of combat dogfighting, the world would look very different right now.
So where do the hours actually come from?
The vast majority is training, high-end training, exercises like Red Flag in Nevada, which is the premier air combat exercise in the world.
These aren't just simple flybys.
No, these are full-up war games, dozens of planes, simulated enemy defenses, electronic jamming. It's high-stress, high-stakes flying.
And then there's the daily ground. QRA. Quick reaction alert.
Yep. An unidentified aircraft, usually a Russian bomber, approaches NATO airspace.
That's a scramble.
The sirens go off, pilots run to the jets, and they are airborne in minutes to go intercept and escort the intruder. That happens constantly. It racks up thousands of hours.
And the export angle we talked about, the desert operations, that created a fascinating feedback loop, didn't it?
This is a great example of an unintended benefit. When the Typhoon first went to the Middle East, the heat was brutal. 50 degrees Celsius. Sand everywhere.
Hard on the equipment.
Very. They found the cooling systems for the avionics were overheating. The computer would just say, "I'm too hot," and shut down.
Not what you want in a fighter jet.
Not at all. So the engineers had to completely redesign those subsystems to handle the extreme heat.
But they didn't just apply that fix to the Saudi jets?
No, that upgrade became standard for the whole fleet. So now, an RAF pilot flying over the cold North Sea has a more robust, more reliable system because of lessons learned in the Arabian Desert.
That's the real strength of a shared platform.
Precisely. 1 million hours gives you a statistical confidence that a brand new jet just can't match. You know exactly how the metal fatigues, how the software behaves in every climate. That data is gold.
So, what's next? We hit 1 million hours. Is this the peak for the Typhoon?
Far from it. The plan is to fly this jet well into the 2030s, maybe even the 2040s.
Even with new 6th-gen fighters like Tempest coming online.
It's meant to be the bridge. It will be integrated to fly alongside the F-35 and eventually the future GSAC-8 fighter. It's not being replaced, it's being integrated. It's evolving into a network node.
And probably even more of a missile truck.
Yeah.
It won't need to be the tip of the spear, it'll just need to be the reliable weapons carrier getting targeting data from the invisible jets flying way out ahead.
It's an amazing story of adaptation. A Cold War interceptor that missed the Cold War, struggled for an identity, and then reinvented itself as this ultimate swing-roll workhorse.
It really proves that if you start with good bones, a powerful, agile airframe, you can keep upgrading the insides to keep it relevant for decades.
Which brings me to a final thought. We spend so much time debating the best fighter. Is it the F-22, the Su-57? But the Typhoon's success raises a different kind of question.
What's that?
Is the future of air power actually dependent on the non-stealthy guys? You can be invisible, but if you run out of missiles after your first shot or your delicate stealth coating is peeling off, you're in trouble.
Right.
Maybe the trucks are just as important as the ninjas. That is the debate that's keeping generals awake at night. Stealth gets you in the door, but capacity and raw performance are what finish the job. You need the scalpel, but you also need the sledgehammer.
And the Eurofighter has become a very, very sophisticated sledgehammer.
A very good way to put it.
Well, if you want to see what that looks like on the inside, I definitely recommend you look up photos of the new Tranche 4 cockpit.
Oh, it's beautiful. Just one massive screen.
It is a spaceship. It shows you everything that swing roll concept is capable of. It's been a pleasure unpacking this. 1 million hours is a real testament to a lot of smart people.
Absolutely. Here's to the next million.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.